I think I'd got in my head that it had to stop. Do you know what I mean? You get to a point where you're like, I mean, I got to the point where I was like going out on my own. I'm doing like this ain't social no more. This is like I'm on some sort of mission of just negativity basically. Um, so I think I had the idea, but it still took too long to get from knowing it weren't right to taking action and changing things.
We are good. Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Real Junglist Podcast. Today, I am joined by Lulla HF. Good evening. It's evening today.
Well, hello. Good to speak with you, Keisha.
Really good to speak with you too. So we sort of randomly found each other on TikTok. I'm not really sure how that happened, but I think it was your street art videos actually that I first saw of yours. I think I really couldn't tell you. But yeah, that's how we initially connected, wasn't it?
Something like that. Yeah. I'm sure we've brushed shoulders in events and stuff as well. But so long as we make the connection, it's that's what's important.
Exactly, that's so true. That is, we probably have actually crossed paths at some point as well. Oh, so for those who haven't heard or come across your content and your songs before, I'll let you introduce yourself and tell us a bit about you and the work and the work that you do.
Sure. So yeah, I'm Lulla HF. I'm supposed to describe myself as like I don't know, alternative hip hop artist. Which what does alternative even mean these days? But yeah, I think I'm probably I'm 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 a rapper in the mold of like people who appreciate lyrics. Basically, I'm all for different types of waves and sounds and different music as the right occasion. But I suppose a lot of my music is quite uh, there's a bit of context in there. I'm normally discussing at least one subject at a time. But yeah, it's either like boom bap or UK hip hop or that those kinds of buzzwords are often used to describe the sort of music I make, I suppose.
Brilliant. And so where did you grow up? What sort of music did you grow up listening to?
Dope question. I'm from Camden Town, born and raised. Queens Crescent Estate, Ferdinand Estate, bit of Kentish Town. Like move around the area a little bit. Um, yeah, but I think Camden is a good indicator of like what I'm about as a person, at least culturally anyway. Because I'm super fortunate to have had lifelong friends from so many different walks of life, and with that bringing music into your life as you do with good friends. You introduce each other to new music, and that's why it's so beautiful. Um, my parents are like my parents are like rock heads, like punk heads, basically. My mum's still in a punk band now, bless her.
Oh wow.
Yes, still going it. Big up Sorbo and that.
Okay.
um, but yeah, no, she's playing gigs all the time. She's out there doing her thing. She's a big inspiration for me, of course. So yeah, I was raised on a lot of that kind of stuff. Um, but then at the same time, mum loves music anyway. She was into Public Enemy from them days, and like so yeah, that kind of earlier sound. So you start you take a bit maybe from your parents, and that will lead you into certain other worlds, and start listening to Wu Tangs and Tupacs and all those kind of artists there on the hip hop side of thing. But then yeah, but lots of different genres. So I like to think I'm fairly eclectic. I think I can hold a conversation with music fans of most kind of circles, and I'm always good to jump around and be a tourist for the day in a scene or a community that I might not know so much about, but I'm always willing to learn and always willing to soak up and find some magic from. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. I love that. So how often so you said your mum still does gigs?
Yeah, man. My mum's in a two-piece.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they like that. She's black, but she's based Brighton way now. So they do a fair few things around there, or they'll do shows in Essex and that. Yeah, they get out and about.
Oh
Mum's is busy,
wow.
man.
That's brilliant. And like you said, such an inspiration for, so I guess it sounds like you really grew up in a household where there was lots of different musical influences, and your mum's clearly very much into music. Is your dad into music
Definitely.
much?
Yeah, my dad's a big music man. It's cool as well because like they kind of came together with an appreciation of the same thing, but at the same time they've got wide eclectic taste to their own. My dad loves his Motown, he loves his Northern Soul,
Mm.
which was dope when it come to when I first got into like making beats and sampling and stuff because I was there digging through his Edwin Starr and all this dope music from 70s, 80s and that. Um, yeah, they're both super eclectic. A lot of like reggae going on in the house. Loads of music, really. Yeah, lots of different. Anything that isn't too close to the center, as that's how kind of how mine work. You know, when you get people, you're like, I don't really listen to music. Like they listen to the radio, which is all fine as well. But it's like most of my preferred music is on the outside of that inner
Mm.
mainstream circle, I suppose. That's how the map works in my mind anyway.
Nice. I love that. And who would you say some of your, other than your mum, who would you say some
Sure.
of your artistic influences were for for your own music?
But my own music, I mean, I learned how to rap. So I started out as like a garage MC, yeah. So that was like one of the first ways I was like, I got my head around being on a mic and spitting to a little crowd and feeling comfortable um learning. I think there's a lot to be said about working with a DJ. I know it's not maybe so common, maybe a bit more common in your world in a D&B sense kind of thing. I think the MC DJ relationship is still really important in certain circles. Um, Maybe not so much now, unfortunately, for my taste anyway, in a hip hop sense. But I love to do a show with a DJ and that. But I'm sorry, I've kind of got off track. But in terms of so it's been like garage MCs, like probably local from my area because it was like pirate radio era and that kind of thing. Heartless Crew is a standout. Heartless Crew to this day are one of the biggest inspirations for me, just for vibes and entertainment and to bring all of that. Um, and then I learned to like rap, as in proper hip hop stuff from people like Redman, Jada Kiss, Big L. Um, those kind of folks, like proper intricate stuff like wordplay. Yeah, just dope. And then from there, I kind of learned a lot about the UK scene, people like Jest and Task Force and Roots Maneuver, Rodney P. Um, yeah, all of those that came just that little bit before me. But I'm always finding influence. It's not just a case of like who was I learning from when I was 14, 15? Do you know what I mean? I'm finding new artists now and I'm like, wow, that's dope. How did you think? How did you put that together? And I mean,
Mm.
yeah, you always wanna learn, take something that you've learned from people that inspire you, and that's never stop being a student of these things. I think it's important.
Yeah, oh, that is so true, so true. So, how did you so you sort of mentioned that you started emceeing in sort of the garage era. Is that
Garage
how
era,
you?
good
So-
times.
good times, exactly.
Ben
Is that
Sherman shirts and all that.
why not to the top? Is that how you? Is that how you started your music? Loafers, no.
Yeah, loafers for the win. Yeah, come on, definitely. Yeah, yeah. No, in a way. I mean, yeah. I mean, we was lucky enough to get on like stations like Raw Mission, which was our main local station from like 14s and that, which was a big step because we knew it was like we were standing around fully grown men who were performing at raves every weekend and doing what we thought were big things at the time. Um, so yeah, so that was definitely a big thing. I think I was blessed like lyrically, and it's all well and good being able to write a nice verse, but if you can't rap that, and if you can't put that out in a performance sense, and you can't be comfortable around certain people, it's all that's a big part of the thing as well. Which I think maybe probably a lot of newer, maybe younger artists they don't get that gap now because you don't necessarily get those kind of cipher settings, those kind of,
Mm.
rap then, like that kind of moment. It's like in the studio, you're at your own pace, and it's you can take as long as you want and whatever. So yeah, I think I'm very fortunate to have had that musical education for myself in the way that it came.
Yeah, and how did that come about? So like when you how did you really hone that skill? Was that just something that you felt that some of it was more natural talent that you had? A few people I've spoken to on this podcast so far, they've come from a performing arts background. That's been a really common theme. I wonder
Sure.
what that yeah, where it sort of came from for you.
No, I mean a musical household is always a blessing for a child, right? So
Mm,
I obviously I had that in my favor. Um, But then I suppose it's just time and situations. I mean, as I say, growing up in Camden, garage was popping. It was easy to just stand around in a playground or a council estate or whatever and just exchange bars and who's sick? Come on, da, da, da. Like just being able to do that, which I think speaks lots to the like the grassroots access that
mm,
that MCing gave kind of my era, or loads of people now. You don't need much to be able to just rap. Do you know what I mean? It's like if you're a violinist or something, you've got to go and buy an expensive piece of equipment before you're ready to be good at what you're good. Do you know what I mean? If you can rap, you can rap. You can do that without a mic or whatever. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I suppose it's just circumstance. Yes, it worked out in my favor. That's all we wanted to do: stand around and spit bars at each other.
yeah, that was such a thing back then as well. I think, you sort of mentioned Heartless Crew there, and it was that sort of era in garage where you had like Heartless Crew, So Solid, and then it became, the MCs kind of rose up. It was about the MCs, which it wasn't really the case before. It was always like the DJs and da da da. And then,
Fully.
these two groups, well, I think they're the main ones I could think of anyway, really came along, and it was just like got these MC groups now. It's a
Yeah,
group
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
MCs,
yeah.
not
The
just one.
MC. You went from hosting a thing to telephone line crew. Like that was a main job for some people till it got to like, hold on, you lot have got like lyrics and that. Yeah, okay, I better. Do you know what I mean? And it got competitive, and it got. I think they probably borrowed a lot from hip hop culture and like obviously sound system culture too at the same time. Yeah, it's a beautiful amalgamation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was like you said, fun times to be around, to be alive, and old enough to
Yeah,
rave in it as well.
definitely, definitely.
So Lola, you released a tune called "Go Against the Grain," which really
Yes.
described a lot about your past challenges that you had with alcohol. And so I
Yeah,
wondered if that was something that you could tell us a little bit more about.
definitely. Yeah, gladly. So alcohol, I mean, probably just from a general British perspective, alcohol is a dangerously available thing here in the UK, right?
Mm,
And it don't, until you kind of grow a little and see it for what it is, or kind of peek behind that curtain a bit, and go, hold on, is this like in the real world? Is this okay? Is this much of this okay? Is like all this normality? Is everything strange about it? Do you know what I mean? It's just so British to be like passed out on the high street at 2 o'clock in the morning on a like yeah, it's just like this is what we do. Like, but why is it what we do? Why has this been? Do you know what I mean? Why has this been fingered into us? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, I sort of got into drinking at quite a young age, as a lot of people do, thinking it's just the cool and fun thing to do. To the point where, yeah, I was abusive in my own relationship with alcohol. Do you know what I mean? What I was doing with it to myself over time was just not okay, man. I think it's a bit like I think I was aware of my own concerns for like my mental health and stuff, but at the same time, maybe not connecting the two together. Do you know what I mean? Like
mm,
you'd go out heavy on a Friday night and be like, "Oh, Saturday, I feel bad," but not going well. It's because I went out last night. You think it's every other reason in your life. Do you know what I mean? Um, yeah, and I'm coming up for 5 years sober now,
wow.
and yeah, loving every minute of making that decision. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's amazing, and you're so right. I know, like here in the UK, was it you can well, at least when I was growing up, I think it was 16, you could start drinking. I don't know actually. Is it 16 or 18? Basically, I started too young as well because
Yeah,
it was clearly illegal when I started. Either way, I wasn't supposed
yeah,
to
yeah,
drink
yeah,
when I started drinking. So yeah, it is ridiculously available. And if you are, like me anyway, someone who started drinking amongst your little friends and you're all sort of the same age,
yeah.
yeah, how do you gauge it? How do you know what is appropriate and what's a quote unquote normal amount to drink and things like that?
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, no,
Mm.
it's a scary thing, you know. I mean, obviously, being from certain sounds and cultures and whatever, the attitude that goes towards other substances is like maybe not so much the same. Like there's a lot more control in other areas. Like um, they've always tried to clamp down on, I don't know, weed or whatever, those kinds of things there. But you've never seen the same efforts made towards like alcohol related stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know.
How would you say your relationship with alcohol back then impacted your creativity and your music?
It definitely has, man. Yeah. I I've ruined performances, studio sessions, like maybe part time or like short term or whatever, but like got into arguments with people that I'm making music with because I'm not totally of my full faculties while I'm working on stuff with people. Yeah, it messed up a lot of stuff for me over time. Do you know what I mean? And then just like stuff that you wouldn't really be able to count up in terms of just like what could I have done if my mood had been better, if I'd had that control earlier on, because the amount of time you waste like being wasted, like it's not just, oh, let's go to the pub for a few hours. It's how that affects you throughout the week. That'll write your next day off. It might make the day after that slower. Do you know what I mean? In terms of personal productivity in whatever you're doing, living that life excessively is always going to take its toll on you. So yeah, creatively, it definitely did detrimental things at times. You know.
And what was that like then for your personal life, like for your, people who are around you outside of the music world?
Yeah. I've definitely caused hurt and concern and all those kinds of things to my nearest and dearest. You know, family has always been important to me, but I know that at the same time, when I was, when I was up to that kind of stuff, that I was saying things that I didn't mean to say, or saying them in the wrong way, or just even if you're not being argumentative or even if you're just out and about doing stuff, people still will be concerned about you. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, if you hold on, you've been out till what time? 4 times this week. We make fun of it as younger people when it's our parents and whatever. They say like, come on, calm it down a bit, concentrate on your goals and da 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 da. But yeah, I don't know. It takes effect on yourself and people closest to you. You know what I mean? It is a lot more serious than we're allowed to believe it is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so what would you say were some sort of pivotal moments or wake up call that made you want to just change, this relationship that you had with alcohol and actually do something about it?
Um, I think, I think I'd, I think I'd got in my head that it had to stop. Do you know what I mean? You get to a point where you're like, I mean, I got to the point where I was like going out on my own. I'm doing like this ain't social no more. This is like I'm on some sort of mission of just negativity basically. Um, so I think I had the idea, but it still took too long to get from knowing it weren't right to taking action and changing things. Um, I actually went to a gig with two, childhood friends. We hadn't seen each other for a while. We went to see Master Ace at the Jazz Caf, who is one of my favorite rappers of all time, and somebody that my friends had put me onto as well. So it was like it should have been a real big, not a real big thing, but a real like nice friendly thing to have done. But I was not in any sort of way to enjoy what it should have been. Do you know what I mean? I was drunk and just like falling all over the place. These guys are like worried about me and like, is he gonna get home? Has he got his mind? Like, just general. And they kind of had a bit of a chat with me basically and just said like, look, man, are you all right? Because this isn't you that we know you to be. Like you're acting in a way that isn't yourself. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, right. So maybe then you start asking yourself the question, and you're like, okay, yeah, no, something's got to give here. I can't keep doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And so what steps what were the steps that you took? Like how did you start to overcome these struggles and challenges? What support did you seek, and how did you even go about finding that support?
Um, I spoke quite extensively with my mum about it, because my mum was concerned at the time as well. Um, and she found like a counselling service that was close to me, an alcohol counselling service, which is literally the sort of thing my mum would do. Like, you need this. I'm going to go and do this. This is the thing. Just phone the number. Go and meet the people. Yeah, and literally as soon as I walked in the door and sat down with the counsellor, I had 6 sessions in total. Um, but it was just, it just instantly lifted me, because I knew I'd made one of the best steps for myself that I had in a long time. And just that alone was enough do you know what I mean? Just kind of
Mm.
love myself a bit better than I had been right there and then, I suppose. And yeah, I haven't messed up since. I'm so blessed to have had that about me. Because if you'd have told me that when I was in the middle of it all, I'd have been like, "You crazy? There's no way I'm stopping doing it. This is what I'm doing always." You know what I mean? And then it's a thing where you look back on old photos and stuff like, "No, I was all flabby and looking all like unmoisturized." Do you know what I
Oh,
mean? It's like,
Christ.
yeah,
De- de- Massively dehydrated.
yeah, fully, yeah, literally, man, yeah. Now I'm reaping the benefits of you know of making that change. So yeah,
Yeah. And what was that like for you? Like in terms of, still being social, so you recognize that it got to a point where alcohol wasn't about your social life anymore. You're drinking alone. You sought help from the counselor. It sounded like it was a massive weight off your shoulders just to get some of the maybe underlying issues that were there for you that were probably feeding into the alcohol issues as well. And
yeah,
then what was it like then after that? Like how did so you said you're 5 years sober now?
yeah. Coming up for 5 years now. Yeah.
Coming up for 5 years. It's just amazing. Like what coping mechanisms and strategies have you used to help you maintain your sobriety?
Um, you got to be prepared to change like a fair few things in your life. You can't just like not drink. Do you know what I mean? There is more to it than that. Um, as a bit on what I was saying earlier, is it like a lifestyle that's quite heavily dependent on alcohol is quite busy because of alcohol. Do you know what I mean? It's like it might be the 2, 3 nights out a week that you're consuming, but as I say, it's the following days because of hangovers. It's the maybe not having the money that you would have had to go and do something else that's more fun because you've already allocated those funds to, yeah, that's pub money, that's da 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 whatever money, that's going out money. Um, yeah, it is quite a lot. So I mean, since I'm in the gym like every other day. Um, but I've just finished uni as well. That was a big thing. I was
Wow.
coming up for my first year in, and I was like, you know what am I going to do? Uh, so you get to the point you're trying to make like positive risks, if you like. You're just trying to throw yourself into situations that you hopefully will have some sort of benefit to you. So I was like, right, let me go to uni. Let me sort that out because it's stuff that I should have done at a younger age. You know what I mean? It's yeah. So I'm glad I made those decisions. It is just kind of it's a big part of reshaping what your typical week looks like. Do you know what I mean? Because
Mm.
you will be like, I would be in the pub right now, but now I'm doing this instead. Do you know what I mean? So yeah,
So yeah, so that's such an important point. So that you got to fill up the time, like you said, that the drinking and the recovery from the drinking would have taken up before.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just sitting there
But I
twiddling
kind
your
of told
thumbs.
myself like, yeah. But I told myself like I want to party harder than I ever had before because there'd have been so many times that I didn't make the night. Like I might have been there, but I wasn't there.
Mm.
But now do you know what I mean? I'm trying to go out to shows, festivals, whether if I'm not performing myself, I'm trying to be out there and enjoying all of it, like all of the time, because it's so surprisingly cheaper as well when you're not drinking. It's like once you swap them, you know, 10, 15 bottles of whatever for, a couple of waters and a fizzy drink or whatever you want through the night, it's just a different ball game. You can do that a lot more than you could before. Do you know what I mean? You'd have, I don't know. I've had weekends where it's like, oh, £200 isn't enough to party all week. Like, how much you trying to drink? Do you know what I mean? But you can't spend that on a super malt and a coconut water and do you know what I mean? You can see it don't work like that. You know what I mean?
It really doesn't. But it's interesting you said there as well. Like you said, you're trying to party harder because I guess you're just more present. You're actually able to have better connections to the music and
Yeah,
people around you.
all of that. Yeah, because that's who I am. Do you know what I mean? And that's the real things that I love doing. That's the yeah, and you can kind of forget that like at times. Be like, no, I'll just be over here just doing this miserable. Like, no, this isn't. I am about the music. I'm about the people enjoying the music. I'm about the culture. I'm about the food, about the good. All those kinds of things. Like, let me have as much as it as I can now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And in terms of productivity and creativity, like how would you say, you know, your sobriety has impacted your ability to do the things you wanted to do creatively?
No, it's definitely helped because, as I said, like it's like so life's about energy, yeah, and energy is like the most like finite thing you can really have for yourself. Do you know what I mean? And it's like how you spend that energy. We all have the same. We all have the same energy. Which depends how we allocate it. Do you know what I mean? It's like controlling your finances or something. It's like right, I have this much. I know I definitely need some of it to feed my family, go to work, whatever you got to do from this hour to this hour. But then you'll have this certain amount left over, and you can either go and throw that away drinking excessively and or you can go right. I can put this over here. I need some for the gym. I need some for seeing friends. I need some for however you spend that up is kind of how I see that. And then yeah, creatively, it's like you just you have more time because you're more sensible, you're more organized, you're naturally kind of more on the ball with what you're doing and how you're doing it. Um, so yeah, so I gave myself a lot more time to be creative. Obviously, I'm a self-releasing musician, so a lot of my music work isn't actually making music. It's looking at marketing, it's looking at content, it's looking at all the other types of bit how managing my own releases and back ends of Spotify's and all the boring stuff. But it's what you do, and when you're a one person machine, do you know what I mean? That's how that works. Um, so yeah, so it's gave me time to learn a lot more about those side of things and to action them, man.
Yeah. And that's such a key part as well, the actual taking action. I think that's something that's coming a lot out of the conversation. Definitely stuff that I've, recognized personally as well. We've got all of the information we need at our fingertips now, so we can learn and learn and learn and learn. But then
Yeah,
it's the actually action and following through with things and finishing projects that we started.
absolutely,
Just
absolutely.
easier said than done sometimes. um so how do you, and I noticed on TikTok, you're getting lots of really positive, comments, which you can only ever be positive comments, when someone is talking about sobriety. But how would you say fans have generally reacted to you, not drinking alcohol, and do you find that it changes the way that they, sort of interact with your music?
um, yeah, possibly. I don't know. I think as much as I love it, I think like traditional UK hip hop, like from like late 90s, early nought, like those kind of eras where it was like backpack stuff. I think that particular community is quite alcohol led and substance led at the same time. And some of my favorite UK hip hop stuff is about drinking and living, vicariously and that kind of thing. So there is probably a connection with that. Um, so then if people, I don't know, obviously it depends at what point someone finds you as an artist, but they might be like, oh, Lala reminds me of this sound, da 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 da. But he's talking about the opposite now of 10 Stellas on a Tuesday night or whatever. Because I mean, my older music was like that. I've always rapped what my life looks like. I don't know really how to do anything else unless it's like super abstract stuff. But like I rap what I live. I suppose is the cliche. But then my life isn't. I mean, I'm not really doing anything worth rapping about.
That's not
But yeah, I
true.
mean, yeah, a lot of the time, yes, a lot of the time it was like, yeah, I'm doing this much damage to myself. Is what so much music that I came up listening to and making was about. I'm doing
Mm,
this to myself, but yeah, now I'm on the flip of that. I mean, it's not. I think when you're when I'm a nerd for the music thing anyway, so I think I know a lot of stuff and I know a lot of other people's work. Um, but then you do get maybe more so modern times you get like the I don't know the mental health rapper or the clean living rapper or whatever, and you're like, all right, great, but is that all you're doing? And that's something I was cautious about. I didn't want to be like, let me come out and tell everyone how to live their life. Like, no, not at all. Do you know what I mean?
mm,
If you're listening to me and doing whatever and you're not motivated to change that up, then I mean, I'm not here to be a life coach. I'm here to just show what what life's looked like for me and how I hope it will look. I suppose you know what I mean. It's a balance, isn't it? It's a balance. You don't want to
yeah.
like be listening to someone's album, or whatever, and they're just like, yeah, do this with your life all of the time. It's not that. You still got to make dope tunes, so, like otherwise it doesn't work. So
But I
yeah,
think it's a good, I think it's that you said it is a balance. And I think also equally, you don't want to be listening to people rap about, certain things that you might not even be able to relate to. Like one example is that, I don't smoke. And so a lot of the time I listen to drum and bass. A lot of time they're talking about weed and stuff. And I'm like, I don't smoke. But,
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah, yeah,
sometimes, and it doesn't stop me from relating to it, but, you do want a variety and you want to be able to tune into different things. And um
sure.
yeah. And I guess in some ways it's quite nice to be able to relate to an artist as well. So if there are people out there who are also sober, then it might be nice for them to hear, someone else's experiences of that.
Hopefully, I mean, because that's the other thing. There's so many people on that journey that you might not even realize, and when your mental health isn't in the greatest space because of what you've been doing to yourself and because of because of the effects of your substance or alcohol issues, you might not even be listening out for the alternative voice in that. Do you know what I mean? You might not be ready to hear that you don't have to do this voice. Do you know what I mean? And it's like so maybe when that comes along, it hopefully it's refreshing. Do you know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's a lot of the time you buy into an artist as a person, right, and who they are, and that makes you grows your connection with them because you're like, we've got this in common. I can tell, and they speak for me on this because of such and such, and so yeah, if that connection comes along, then great.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know you said you don't want to be a life coach, but I do think you have some really valuable insights for people out there who might be considering, sobriety. And do you have any advice or anything that you would share to any particularly artists out there, I would say, who are considering just, looking at their relationship with alcohol differently and maybe even going for, living an alcohol-free life?
Um, Yeah, I mean, yeah, I suppose without being preachy, it's like you just got to take a look at yourself and you've got to see you kind of need to try and take that step back for a minute and go, well, how much is this taking out of me? How much is this affecting where I'm trying to go to? Um, and what could I do with with a different situation, with a different set of parameters? Do you know what I mean? It's like, um, yeah, I think it's that really. Not, I mean, there's plenty of people that are in control of what they do, so it's you can't just be jumping. Oh, don't drink anymore! Like I can't start shouting at my friends who I've been partying with for however long now. I'd be like, no, put that down. That's bad. You know what I mean? It's like, no, that's not going to how it works. And I'm still out in the pubs and stuff with my friends all the time. I love being out. It's just that I don't do that. But I'll still buy a round. I'll still buy an expensive ass round and buy myself a water or something. Just,
Oh,
just, just maybe just as a reminder to myself. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, as far as advice goes, I think it's just like just kind of maybe if you're already thinking about those kind of things, like how would you see yourself in a more positive light? What would you do with a bit more time, with a bit more energy, with a bit more love for yourself in the here and now kind of thing, I suppose. Because you'd be surprised the benefits that it can bring you.
yeah, I think that's absolutely brilliant advice. And I think, I mean, one of the main reasons why I wanted to have this conversation with you, because I just know that there are, I don't know, when I say this, I'm not talking about anyone in particular, but I just know that there are artists out there just from the scene that I party in,
Oh,
who are have
definitely.
definitely who are sober. Mosey being one of them. I don't know if you've ever heard of Mosey. He's a
Yeah, I had a very short chat with Mosey quite recently. Yeah, but yeah,
oh,
that's
amazing.
dope. Yeah,
Yeah, and I've seen, as
that's
he
dope.
puts his content out there and talks about his journey, I've seen a lot of really positive responses. And so I wanted to, yeah, definitely get someone onto this platform as well, and just speak to these things. I think it's really important for
Yeah.
people, like you said, to take that look at themselves. It's not preaching saying that people should or shouldn't do whatnot, but it is about just looking at what you want for your life and yeah, and how things might be impacting you.
I think especially if it's music people, excuse me,
Mm.
if it's music people that we're talking about, it's like you you got to remember that the music came first. The music was the thing because we all come from that younger age where it was before all of that. Do you know what I mean? It's the music that you fall in love with, and the music doesn't change. The music refreshes and whatever, but the that moment, that relationship to just awesome music doesn't change. So when people are like, well, if I stop drinking, I won't be able to go out anymore. And like, no, so stop all of that. You're there because the music's there, and the music's there because you are who you are, and your friends are, you know, nothing actually changes. You just feel
Mm.
better and you don't spend as much money. I don't know. You can go deep with it or you can go light with it, and you still kind of get to the same. Do you know what I mean? It's the perspective. It can be broad, but it's just it's worth pursuing if you think you're ready to try it. I mean, you can always try these things on a short term. You know what I mean? Dare yourself to have a night out without drinking and see what that one night does for you, and then see if you want to try that for a little bit longer, or stuff like that. Yeah, it's worth changing it up now and again.
Yeah, exactly. Would you have any advice for any artists who are listening in who are trying to make it in the music scene? Um, you sort of talked about being a one man, would you say like a one man band? You're doing everything. You're doing the back end of Spotify and the front end of
Yeah, all of that.
social media. Like what advice would you give to any artists out there?
Um, welcome to no, no. It's just yeah, just I don't know. Figure out who you are, where you're trying to be as early as possible. Um, it's easy to achieve goals and you know to get to levels that you want if so long as you've done a bit of research beforehand. Um, as I said, because I come from uni, like I've been fortunate to have a lot of younger friends that are like maybe making their first couple of years into music and whatever. Um, and we all have that kind of naivety, like, yeah, next year I'm headlining Glasgow, or do you know what I mean? It's like once you go, whoa, 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 okay, how are you doing that? Are you the right person to be doing that? Does that actually align with where you're rah, rah, rah. It's like there's only certain places that I know that my music works. So it's me, like, I don't know, trying to DM classical FM to get my song played or whatever stuff like that. It don't work. But sometimes when you are just out there hungry and just trying to chase everything, it's like, oh, everybody needs to hear my music. It does, as soon as you can figure out what it is you're trying to do, what it is you're about, what you love, what other people's music that you love, and where you're trying to yeah, just and don't stop listening as well. Don't stop going to shows, like be out and about amongst the music that you love, whatever that sound is. You know what I mean? I've got friends in indie bands. I've got friends that are drum and bass DJs. I've got friends in lots of different pockets of things. Um, and just be the community, the community and the culture that you're about is important. Do you know what I mean? Well, I think we're getting more and more I don't know, encouraged, or like there's a lot of gap maybe nowadays because of, oh, I'm just gonna stay indoors and scroll through my phone like that. I'm part of the culture tonight. I'm doing like not
Mm,
really, like go and do it. Do you know what I mean? Go and be out amongst it. Whether it's just your friends that you work with and make music with, or if it's going out and socializing and networking and all of that. Just be a part of the thing, really.
yeah, so important, and it is different, actually being in front of people in a live experience as opposed to, like you say, looking at things for your phone. And people are just so incredibly up for, I think maybe as a result, I don't know if it's a result of what happened around the pandemic. We're all just really grateful to be about people again, but people are just
Yeah.
really up for making friends and just having conversations, and just, yeah, connections seem very different now, I feel,
Yeah.
than they were pre-pandemic.
Yeah, nice. Especially again, if you're in musical settings that are the sort of world that you love, do you know what I mean? You'll be surprised about the people that you're going to meet and what they're up to, and there's there's so much you can learn from other people that are already close to doing the things and surrounding the things that you love anyway, with the music, right? So yeah, get out and about, man. Go to a show. Go support your local whoever, your favorite, whatever. Go and just do all of that as
Yeah,
much as you can.
absolutely love that. What did you study at uni, by the way? I forgot to ask.
Music business.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, done a degree in music business. It's a thing where I knew a fair few of the elements prior to going there. Um, but sometimes you just want to kind of solidify that and spend time with tutors that are doing these things on a much bigger scale. Um, and the network element is being able to to make friends and relationships with other dope talented people on different wavelengths. It's just you can't you can't beat that kind of you can't beat that, man. I love dope people. Do you know what I mean? I love dope music and dope people. Wherever that takes me, I know I'm more time onto a winner or onto a good time, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, amazing. So what can we expect from you in the coming months? Or what are your plans for the future?
Um, yeah, just trying to stay busy, man. When I'm busy, I'm not in trouble. Um, yeah, no, I've got a few things coming. Yeah, just kind of, I'm very much in the writing stage at the minute for like probably going to be an album or something essentially in the long
Wow.
form, but I'll chop it up and it'll roll it out in singles and play all of that game. but yeah, I'm excited. I've made some good connections like real recently. Got a few new producers that I haven't worked with before. I've got a really dope videographer that I've done a few bits with now. Um, so yeah, looking to just create cool, fun stuff that people will hopefully enjoy. That's the aim.
Yeah, I loved your video, by the way. What you were in the clown makeup.
Yeah, to go against Gravid. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was
That
the
was
one.
fun to make. Yeah, it was fun to make. That
That
was
was
actually
brilliant.
a uni project as well. So yeah, that was working with other students from from another institution. So that was fun.
Oh, amazing. So you say you've graduated from uni, you finished your course.
So I handed in my final assessments literally like less than 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
I got one of my
amazing.
first grades through today, which is looking like a 2-1. So yeah, I'll see how I
Nice.
get on.
Oh, brilliant. Congratulations. That's a nice feeling, isn't it? You finally submit, you're just
Yeah,
like, what will be, will
yeah, yeah, yeah.
be. I've done
Yeah,
all I can now.
it's up to you now. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Well, thank you so, so much. Before we finish up, or almost, you almost got away with it there. Before we finish up, we have to do our fun round of this or that.
sure. Let's go. I'm
um,
waiting. Been waiting for this part.
I don't I was saying to someone, there's just going to be lots of clips about of me on the internet, just like asking random people this or that questions. It's like my favorite pastime. This is what I do on Friday evenings. So
Sure.
the first one will be iPhone or Android.
I'm an Android person, you know. I'll be honest. Yeah, I struggle with iPhones. I never know what buttons are where.
People seem to struggle with the fact that there is no back button.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? Yeah, I'm definitely a back button person. I'm always in the wrong part of my phone. Get me
I'm a
out of
back
here.
I'm a back button person. Brilliant. Instagram or TikTok?
Oof. Um, it's hard, you know.
Mm.
I don't know. I'm going to say TikTok because it's done a lot for me that I had no idea it was going to happen. Especially like whole time all my graffiti homies, if they end up seeing this on TikTok, they help me a lot out with one particular song. But yeah, it's got me some real interesting connections. I want to say TikTok.
Brilliant. Do you prefer to listen to your music through your headphones or speakers?
Hmm. Um, to my personal that music I make or listen to music in general.
Oh, I would say music in general.
Um, it depends on the music. I don't know. It's like the stuff I listen to in the gym, which is obviously a headphone situation, but then the soundtrack to like when I'm washing up or whatever is a different vibe. So like, yeah, I don't know. Can I say both? Is that allowed?
You could say both. You could say both. So you said the
All right.
soundtrack to when you're washing up. What would that be?
No, I mean like in terms from what I listen to in the gym in my headphones is different
Yeah.
music to what I listen to when I'm washing up. It'll be a different vibe. Do you know what I mean? So that sounds and feels different when it's coming out of like speakers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So what do you listen to when you're washing the dishes?
Oh,
Is it more like is it slower tempo or is it like upbeat stuff to get you through
yeah,
the task?
it's often a bit more chilled. Yeah, it's probably like I don't know, like Children of Zeus, bit of Little Sims.
I love Little
It
Sims.
might be like might be some jazzy stuff. It might be I don't know some Anderson Pack or yeah something with a bit more something to it.
Yeah, bit more chill. I love
Stuff
Little
that you
Sims. I
can't
think
work out to.
yeah, exactly. No, exactly that. Would you prefer to be able to teleport or read minds?
Whoa. Yeah, teleport, man. I ain't interested in other people's minds. That's their business. So let me get out and about easier than I already am right now.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think I'd be able to handle being able to read other people's minds. I think it would break me. I don't think I want to know what everyone's thinking all the time. Just get me from here to there without me thinking. That is way easier. Let's just do
Yeah.
teleport. I'm definitely with you on that one. Would you rather to be able to play all the instruments in the world, or to master every single sport that there is?
Um, yeah, I mean, as a musician, I'd have to go with the instruments, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, I can't. I mean, I like sport. I'm a football guy. I'm a football geek. Don't get me wrong, but like the rest of the sports, I don't really need. So that'd probably be a waste on me. I'll take the instruments.
The instruments. Would you rather to have to wear heavy boots all the time, or to never be able to wear shoes at all? So you'd have to be barefoot the whole time.
Whoa. Yeah, no, I think you need you need footwear in this day and age. These roads are treacherous, man. You never know what you're stepping in. Yeah, no, I mean, how heavy are the boots? We're just talking
They're
about
very
like some
heavy.
like Tim's or
No,
something a
heavier
bit
than
more
that.
excessive.
Probably like
Okay.
5 kg each.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. No. All right. I'll take the boots. Yeah. I'll
Still take the
figure it out
boots.
somehow.
Well, if you teleport in, maybe that's going to make life easier anyway.
Yeah. 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 True.
Uh, all right. Last two. City break or beach holiday?
Hmm. I'm a city guy. I do like a beach, don't get me wrong, but there's only so much sitting around I can do. Like, yeah, I get a bit what's the word? Antsy.
Mm,
I like to get out and see things, and yeah, I'm a city guy. City break, yeah.
yeah. Last question. Would you rather receive £100,000 in cash or have an all expenses paid trip around the world?
Yeah, I'd take the cash. I'd rather make the I mean, I can take a trip with some of that money, but like if it's all just going on one thing, I mean, need to divvy up these kinds of resources.
Yeah. Different interests. It's not all about travel.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's exactly that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Oh, Lala, it's been amazing to speak with you. And I'm glad that we managed to find the time for us to have this chat. Just so that people know where can they find you? What's the best place for them to keep up with your work and check out some of the wonderful work that you've done?
Yeah, so it's just Lulla HF wherever you might look, whether that's streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, what have you. Bandcamp's always nice if you wanna support a guy and maybe buy a song or two. But yeah, I'm pretty much all over socials, YouTube, wherever you want. Just yeah, look for me, man.
Look for you and they will find you.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Brilliant.
I'll be there.
Amazing. Thank you so, so much. Take care.
Thank you, Keisha. Thank you.